everyone, I'm Siddharth. I'm a second year BTech IT student from NSEC, Kolkata. Now, welcome to our channel CodeChef. Today, we would be discussing the problem valid triangles, and the problem code is FLOW013, and the difficulty level of this problem is easy, and the prerequisite to this problem is none. Now, let's move to the problem statement. So, we need to write a program to check whether a triangle is valid or not. Okay. Now, when a triangle is valid, it is written that it would be three angles, and the sum of the angles, suppose one is angle 1, second is angle 2, and third is angle 3. If the sum of all the three is equal to 180 degree, then it is valid. Else, if it is not that case, then it is invalid. Okay. Now, let's move to the input and output. Okay. So, we would be given T number of test cases and three angles A, B and C. Okay. Now, what are test cases? Test cases are normal just like cases, and you need to handle each cases separately. So, test cases should be handled. Suppose the number of test cases is 3. Then there would be A1, B1, C1, A2, B2 and C2, and A3, B3 and C3. Okay. And what would be the output? For each test case, we need to display, that is, for example, suppose it is yes. Okay. Or suppose this is no. Okay. And the same thing, whatever be the value, it is no. Okay. And then we need to print each of that in a new line. Now, what do you mean by new line? After print, every answer should be only in one statement. Okay. After printing it, we should change the line. After printing it, we should change the line. Okay. Now, let's see the sample input and output. Okay. Now, there are three cases. Consider it 1, 2 and 3. At first, we would be talking about 1. So, 40 plus 40 plus 100. Okay, 40 plus 40 plus 100 equals to 180 degree. And 180 degree, when it is the sum, then it is valid. Okay. So, what will we print? We would print yes. Okay. Now, about the second case, when 45 plus 45 equals to 90, and then another 90 would make it 180, and it is also valid. Okay. And valid things will be known as yes. Okay. And the next one is 180 and then plus 1, 181 and 182. Okay. So the value 182 is not equals to 180. So it is not valid. Okay. Let me write it so that it would be more clear. It is not valid. So we would print no itself. Okay. Now let's see how can we implement this. Okay. So at first we should handle the test cases part. Okay. How can we handle the test cases part? Let me write TC, test case. So we can simply use a loop. Any loop would do, like while loop or for loop. Okay. We would be using for loop because now you would be more accustomed with the for loop, and after that you can use while loop to make the code short itself. Okay. So we would be using for loop itself, and then we need to handle each test cases individually. So we would be writing cases itself. Okay. So how would we handle the cases? We would take the input of A, B and C, and at the end we would take a variable known as sum, which would be initialized with 0, and then we would add A plus B plus C and append it to the sum. Okay. And now sum would have the value of A, B and C. And then we need to check that if the sum is equal to 180 or not. When we need to check for something, we use a if statement. Okay. So if sum is 180 degree, then we need to print yes itself, else we would be printing no itself. Okay. else no. This was the pseudocode. Now let us implement this so that we have a proper understanding. Now let us implement this. At first we would handle the test cases using a for loop. Okay, so int tc, and then we would take the input of tc, and then we would run a loop int t is equals to 0, t is less than tc, and then t plus plus. Okay, and then we would take the input of a, b, and c itself. So int a comma b comma c, and then we would take the input a, b, and c itself, and then we would initialize a variable with sum 0 and sum equals to a plus b plus c. Okay, now one thing more, you can directly do this, that int sum is equals to directly this, and you can remove this line. This would make the code shorter. Okay, now if sum is equals to 180 degree 180, then cout yes with an end line. Else if it is not that case, then what would we do? We would print no itself with an end line. Good to go. Now let us run for the sample test cases. And yes, it has passed. Yes, yes, no. Now let us submit this. Now at first let us remove this boilerplate and let us paste our code and click on the submit button. Okay, our submission is queued. Okay, we would wait for the verdict. And yes, we got an AC. If you are interested in competitive programming and want to learn and master data structures and algorithms, this is a one-stop destination for you. Every week, we post CodeChef problem explanation, live problem solving sessions, and frequently asked interview problems. Consider subscribing this channel if you haven't yet already.